Okay, so I want to continue working with our effects options. And here we have a new file. And if we look at the layers panel, we can see that we have a text file. We have another vector-based layer right here called border. And then we have a photographic background. We want to make this all look cohesive and composited so it looks like it's all part of the same photo. One thing you might find, and this is happening with new versions of Photoshop, is there's a exclamation mark right here. This means that the original font for this is missing, and it's unfortunate, but we can fix this. So if I were to double click this, it would say these fonts are missing, Trajan Pro, bold. Let's go ahead and replace that. Okay, so if I hit replace, it's going to try to find something, and you can see here that it actually failed quite miserably finding something equivalent. So right here where it says character, okay, I could also come up here to this menu to find this, but I want to find something like Times New Roman. So it's a very common font with a lot of systems. So I'm going to scroll through all my fonts and come down to the T's, and I'll look for something like this, Times New Roman. Everyone should have this. So I'm going to click on that, and now you can see that exclamation mark symbol disappears. So now we're working with a font that everyone has. All right, so with my text layer selected, I'm going to come down here to the effects option. I'm going to click on there and go to blending options. Just like before, I'm going to keep my window over here, and I'm going to zoom in so I can see my letter forms a little bit closer. The one we're going to work with exclusively is right here. It's called the Bevel and Emboss. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. Don't be worried if you don't see anything happening. Sometimes this has some weird settings that we just need to modify. So mine is definitely, I got some weird things going on. First thing I'm going to do is change what's called the gloss contour to standard. Okay, so it should look like this. It's just a diagonal breakthrough on this. I'll explain this in just a bit. Highlight mode, it's on complete, almost like no opacity. I'm going to bring that up so you can actually see what's going on there. And then shadow mode, I should be using something like multiply, and I'll bring that up. The other thing is, if you see a lot of just black, if that's what your type is reading, let's choose this right here, which is called color overlay. We're basically going to switch what the color that the pixels are filled with. So I'm going to click on the color overlay, and I want to keep it in a normal blend mode, but I'm going to choose something that's closer to like a gold. Okay, so like a base color. Okay, we want this to look like gold inlay. So now that I have that, I'm going to go back and click on Bevel and Emboss. And now you can see that it's a little bit easier to see what I'm doing here. And we still have some things we got to play around with. Okay, but for the most part, this is going good. My shadow should not be white, so if I click on this, I do need to choose a color for my shadow that is closer to my letter forms. All right, so before we go over to the what's called the structure of this, let's change the shading so it's looking consistent. Now, if I zoom out a little bit and I just look at the photo, I need to kind of ask myself, where does it look like the light comes from in the photo? And as I look at this, it looks like the light's coming from the upper right. So I do want to kind of move this around and try to get something that's matching that upper right condition. And in this case, I want the highlight edge to be around here. So we have what's called altitude and angle on this one. Altitude is basically how close the actual light is to the proposed object that you're lighting. So if you move this closer, it's actually going to look as though the light is very close, whereas if I move it farther away, okay, it's going to create a more dispersed look to it. So actually inside is a little bit farther, whereas towards the outside is closer. So my altitude, I'm going to keep around 30 degrees. The angle I'm going to use is a -120. And you can see, look, the light looks like it's coming from the upper right. The next thing we want to change is not quite the gloss contour. I'm going to come up to style here. I'm going to change the structure. There's a number of different ways we could kind of make this look three-dimensional. We could do what's called the outer bevel, okay, which is going to create this extruded effect on the outside. We could do the inner bevel, which is going to look like a 3D effect on the inside. We can do emboss, which is a little bit of both. And then we could do this one. It's called pillow emboss. But what it actually does, it creates the emboss, but it actually makes it look like it's embedded into the background behind it. So I'm going to choose pillow emboss there. Technique, I'm going to try something like this, chisel hard. Okay, so it looks, again, a little bit more metallic and less of a soft material. And then the depth, so I'll see if I can play around with giving it a little bit more of what's called depth. Okay, I'll come back and adjust this, but I'm going to keep this a little bit higher, and then I'll play around with size. Size, we want to be careful. We don't want to go too high. It's going to look a little too distorted. Okay, so it's how much of kind of a 3D effect that we can actually apply to this. So I do want to zoom out to see what that's looking like. So my size at about 25 pixels tends to give me the look of something that's really like metal. The depth I'm going to play around with a little bit more. I think the depth was like a little too much before, so I'm going to bring this closer to 100. And then soften, I want to be careful not to do this too much, because again, it starts to look more cartoonish. So I'm going to bring this down real low, just 1 pixel of softening. Now think of softening as like these edges that it's creating. So we do want this to look metal, so we're going to keep that low. All right, so we've done like a lot of the work so far, but the thing we can keep playing around with is the shading, and specifically what's called the gloss contour. So I'll zoom in to show you what this is doing. The gloss contour is basically how it's mapping light that moves across the form. And think of it as like a cross section of the object. So right now the cross section is relatively flat, and so the light's being mapped as kind of flat. You can play around with this. You can play around with how the light and the cross section might look across the form. Now I find that a lot of these do not kind of give the results you would need, but there are some of them, like this one right here. This is a typical S curve. That sometimes these can get something that's a little bit closer to this look that mimics rock. So let me see if I can make this work. I'm going to use this gloss contour, and for the highlight on here, so remember the light comes down, hits this edge. I'm going to tone this down to something like this. Screen, maybe something like lighten. I'm going to adjust the opacity. All right, and so now it doesn't look like it's so extreme, especially along the rock that's below it. And then the shadow is obviously, it's the other side. Now the shadow, again, I don't want to modify too much. I might lighten that just a little bit, but I really like the effect that I'm getting with that shadow. We could also play around with what is called the anti-aliasing. So it's going to attempt to get rid of any kind of banding or pixelation. So I'll just play around and see if that helps out a little bit. And in this case, it really doesn't. I'll play around with a couple more of these gloss contours to see just what kind of effect I can get. So this one's pretty interesting. This one's getting me a lot more of this variation within that. However, when I use this one, now it looks like the rock, a metallic look to it. So I'd be careful in using that one. I could try something like this, the emboss option instead, and see if that helps. All right, so in the end, I decided that this setup works really well for creating this inlaid kind of gold texture within the rock. So it's the pillow emboss style with a chisel hard. I bumped up the depth a little bit more. Size at 25, no softening. I changed a little bit of the angle and altitude, so minus 125, 15. The gloss contour, I went back to the S curve. And then right here, the opacity and the blend mode for the highlight, I bumped this down a little bit. It was a little extreme. Again, I don't want the rock to look like it's shiny metallic, but I still want Okay, the gold to look like it's a metallic value. And then shadow mode is multiply. So there's some other options within here. There's an extra contour you can add, but in this case it's not really going to add too much to this, so I'm going to turn that off. The other thing we can do is we can add like another texture across everything. Now just know the textures are kind of these pre-made textures in here, and oftentimes it's like these natural textures. And so you want to just be careful when you play around with this. But oftentimes you can choose like a natural texture, and then you can play around with the scale of it. So if I increase the scale and decrease the depth, sometimes you can get these really cool effects to it where there's just like a little bit of distress or change across the form. And it's not like you really wanted it to look like there was ferns on it, but it just happened to be that the ferns kind of give it that look. So if I added this this pattern here and just a little bit of this depth applied to it, has like a weathering effect to it, so it looks like the gold is actually been distressed, or it's not perfect. It's seen some wear and tear over time. So again, something you can play with. But that's the bevel and emboss and color overlay effect. I'll click OK. All right, so just like before, we took all this time to create the effect for the text. We could go ahead, take the effects, hold down on Alt or Option, and then click and drag it onto the border layer. Release the mouse, then release the keys, and now we can see we have not only the effect applied to the text, but it also now has a border along with it. All right, so that's it for this one. You can go ahead and export this, and I'll see you in the next exercise.